Oh, gee. Okay, start over. Cooperation. Yes, all right. So, Olivia, no fire breathing and no hearing me, okay?
Ever since Bella's been small, she's been inquisitive and engaged.
She was always writing or filming a TV talk show with her sisters as guests, and or writing little theater productions, just endlessly imaginative and curious.
It was a long time before I really understood that I was facing my mortality as a young child.
When she was 10, she went in for a normal checkup, and they noticed that there was a murmur, and they said, well, you better get that checked out. And so we went to Children's, and sure enough, there was a diagnosis of some heart issue there. And what we came to find out, it was called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, HCM.
Then as time went on and we learned more about it, we discovered, oh, chances are she'll live a very normal life, just kind of managing this condition a little bit and having some, limitations on exercise, but she should have been, we thought she'd be fine.
At some point, she started to show these signs, lethargy and just shortness of breath and just the slowing down. It was almost a teasing of how her body was reacting, because she was declining, and yet she would have these moments of empowerment or feeling good. I remember she had just run up the stairs to her bedroom, and we were talking on her bed.
And all of a sudden my hands started to feel numb. I was touching them to each other. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. This is, I was totally joking around. Then I got to Children's, and they were checking me out, and they were saying, okay, now raise your arm, raise your leg. And I couldn't do it. Pretty much the entire left side of my body was not functioning.
Basically having a stroke.
They went in and they vacuumed out the blood clot. And from there, the blood started flowing back again, and I immediately gained all my feeling back. I knew that it was something dangerous that I had just survived, but it wasn't scary, so I was mostly just wanting to get back into my life and back home, which unfortunately did not happen.
I think it's pretty amazing that Bella has always maintained a pretty accepting attitude about her condition, even when the conversation started to get more serious about a transplant.
There was a lot of times I lost hope, but I would say that the staff was a huge part of staying optimistic. I got amazing pep talks. Just really being treated, I think, like a person and not like a sick kid was a huge, huge part of it. I occupied myself by painting a lot. There's still a lot of the paintings that mean a lot to me. I filled up notebooks, had canvases and stuff. I liked creating in there because it made me feel productive, which I need as a person. I'm very much a doer, so I had to be doing this kind of stuff or I would have just withered away, I think. The nausea was a very traumatic symptom for me that caused me to be pretty hopeless. Food's really important to me. It's something I love, and not being able to keep it down was really hard. One instance of that was on the morning of what would have been my high school prom, which I had dreamed of since 5th grade because of High School Musical and whatnot. I had a toilet bowl full of blood from internal bleeding. My dad brought me in one of my favorite breakfast sandwiches from Hattie's Hat, and I threw it up. I couldn't keep it down. There's some days that you just feel so different from your peers. A lot of the time I was able to push that aside to be like, hey, I'm still a normal, 18-year-old girl. But there are certain times, and that was one of them, that I just was like, I'm a sick kid. I'm not getting to experience this wonderful thing that I have been dreaming of.
Next thing you know, Molly comes in and she's got this dress. You know, we'll have our own prom.
We were just going to go up to the rooftop and just hang out. And that was going to be enough. But then one of my favorite male nurses, Danny, just happened to be let go from his assignment that day. So he was totally free. So him and this wonderful nurse named Erica took me up to the rooftop garden, and we listened to Eminem, we listened to the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, we listened to all kinds of like funny prom stuff, and drank our champagne and got to dance in my wheelchair, and it was really special.
Bella's prom will forever live with me. I'm serious, as one of the best memories of my life. I just know it. Bella's spirits were definitely challenged that week. And after the prom, that night, after everyone left and we were sitting there reliving all the fun of it, she said, "Wow, that is just what I needed. Now I can do this. I can wait as long as I need to wait." And I just couldn't believe it, that she, just from kindness, from this simple event that just happened from people being thoughtful and kind, was just the medicine she needed. And little did we know that the next morning we would get the news that Bella's heart had finally arrived.
I just started bawling. It's what we had been waiting for so long.
I think one of the most emotional moments for me, and I did cry a few times, was when, right as I was being rolled into the OR and it was about midnight, each one of my family members hugged me and sort of said goodbye as I was right at the doors waiting to go into the operating room. And then my mom hugged me, and I just remember she, I think, went to let go, and she told me, she's like, "You can do this." And she was sort of crying, you know, choking up. And she went to let me go, and I just practically just like dragged her into the bed with me. I just was like, "Do not." And then I could tell she was crying because I mean, we were insanely close, and she had been there with me through the whole thing. I think I needed that hug because I was all smiles and giggles on the operating table.
I've tried to think of what I would say to Bella's donor's family. It's hard to put it into words, but I would say thank you from the deepest part of my soul, and that I will carry their kindness and generosity and compassion with me for the rest of my life. The gift of an organ just can give someone their life back.
I was hoping I would get to graduate. There was prom and graduation, and those were the two milestones that I really wanted to get through. So I didn't get to go to prom, but about 2 weeks after transplant, I was released from the hospital about 2 or 3 hours before my graduation ceremony.
We zipped home. Mark and Olivia and Sophia had the house all decorated, and so we got to come home really quickly, and she changed, and before you know it, we were off at graduation.